focus much on agriculture. But Kamuzubanda based our... I've got one guest or two guests I want to introduce to you tonight. My dad and mom, where are you sitting? Please stand up, my dad and mom. Please, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Can I have a seat, please? Let's get started. The downside. All right. All right. The downside of politics. The downside of politics. Last year, when I was in an election process, because people have put politics above people, some of my opponents who knew where my parents stay, they could get drunkards, go around the house and insult them. Are we together? It's because people have put politics above people in such a way that they have lost their moral values and take things so personal just because you know where they stay, and trying to dissuade your opponent, you go after their parents. That's why today I am coming to you with people over politics, to reverse the trend of putting politics above people. Today's lecture is about provoking your thoughts and helping us to get angry enough, because if we are not angry enough, we cannot rethink of the ways we do our politics and run our country as far as governance and economic development is concerned. We need to be people-centric, and people must come first. From 1994 to date, we have put politics above people, but what has that helped us? How has that helped us? We have politicized almost everything. Everything is run with an eye of politics. Every action or decision is taken or viewed with a political angle. It would take a collective effort of boldness to change this mentality. Some of us, I want to say this and get it correctly. Because of politics over people, those who are rational attract many enemies who are mostly hand clappers and bootlickers. This has led to many elites and the cream of the nation shying away from politics. People who are the cream of the nation, they'll rather be home and watch others fight because of the way we are running politics in our country. No matter how we get inserted, our eyes are on the ball. We have put our eyes on the ball. We'll never be derailed as long as we know what we want to achieve is good for everyone in Malawi. I want to ask some questions just to give you an example that we have politicized everything in our country. Why is it that Pamaliro kumuzika ndi tauni andala yankulepo? Are we together? Pamaliro oti omalirayo andalisa panganawo siwa chipani. He's not a politician, does not belong to any political party, but we say achipani andale ayankulepo. Why? It's because we have politicized almost everything, even in the functions. Guest of honor, Timvanego, good. Timvanego. I know you're excited, but Timvanego. Why is it that during functions like launch of albums, guest of honor is always a politician? Always a politician. Here in Zomba, there's a problem with the bridge. People blame politicians, yet the engineers never took any blame. People blame politicians. Like every now and again, we look at politicians as our source of problems and solutions. John F. Kennedy said, let us not seek the Republican answer or the Democratic answer, but the right answer. Most of the times, because we have put politics above people, we don't look at things rationally. As a result, we always look at partisan politics as a solution to our problems. And that has led to political dogmatism, and emotions have replaced rational thoughts. Political party affiliations, as well as internal camps affiliations, have hindered the objective views, such that views of opposing personalities are taken as senseless, useless, and malicious. Instead of listening objectively, we call each other names. Akala MCB awanda nyamata bomandiro mweri. Akala TPP awandi makadere msawanvere. We throw the baby with the dirty water together. We are not rational because we have put politics above people. That has hindered our objective view of matters in our country. I want to say this. Happy Kayuni, where are you, Happy Kayuni? Prof, all right. You see, Timvanego, Pogosto, please. Timvanego. We have got the ruling party and the opposition party. Are we together? Now, because we say opposition party, the understanding is that they are supposed to oppose whatever government is doing. Now I'm saying in America they have a minority government. Why can't we come up with something in Malawi? Instead of calling them opposition party, we say government in waiting. So that their engagement with the government is such a way that it's not always by opposing, but rather engaging positively with an idea of moving forward. So we need to start rethinking our political cycle by not calling each other ruling party, opposition party, but rather government in what? Waiting. So George Chaponda will be called the leader of the government in waiting, as opposed to the leader of opposition. Those are some of the ideas that we should be looking at when we think about people over politics. Sometimes when I'm traveling, I look at a mother carrying her baby and her bucket of water, long distances. And you say, what does sovereignty or independence mean for these people? There are a number of issues we can look at. Because at the moment, because of oppressing politics above people, we have not made much progress 61 years of being independent. We are 61 years old, but we have got our vulnerable people suffering in the farms in Mulanje, in Cholo, or even in Zimba in the States. Our farmers. We have got a lot of people who cannot access proper medical healthcare system at 61 years independent. We need to rethink the way of doing our politics. The bright future for our nation is dependent on the health and prosperity of the rural masses. But the way we have done our politics is such a way that we've focused in other areas and ignored other areas just because of political divisions as well as regional divisions. Our branding of our country is based on illusion and not on reality on the ground, because the majority of our people are most vulnerable in our rural areas. We need to rethink and look forward to building one Malawi that is based on people-centric ideas. In Burkina Faso, our friend Ibrahim Traore, when he was asked, why is it that he's a military junta but the people love him, he said this: the bond between the army and the people is what makes us unstoppable. The bond between the army and the people is what makes us unstoppable. The bond did not just come to existence. The people needed something. The leaders met those needs. The bond was created. When there is a disconnect between the leaders and the people, it means the needs of the people have not been met. And most of the time it's because we have not put the people's interest as our main agenda, but our political survival as our main agenda. As a result, we are unable to meet the gap between the needs of the people and their reality. The basic needs of the people are like physical discipline, health care, education, potable water, and ethical practices by our leaders. But this can only be achieved if we change our mindset and start being people-centric. Now, what is people over politics? People over politics is about service and not scheming. People over politics is about service and not scheming. At the moment, we have always put scheming. How can I pull that person down? How can I survive politically? Instead of scheming against poverty, against the economic crisis, against the hunger, we are busy scheming against one another. We have drawn our energy in the wrong direction. Instead of drawing our energy into scheming against our economic challenges, the hunger that we have put our energies in scheming against one another. One thing we forget: our opponents are the ones that makes us a better people. I repeat, our opponents are the ones that makes us a better people. Kamuzubanda during the cabinet crisis said, I am at my best when there is opposition. I am at my best when there's what? Opposition. Because by having someone who is able to question your thinking, to question your idea, you are able to sharpen and even correct your thought process. But at the moment, we don't do that. We rather suppress someone who is giving us, who is performing services of a soundboard, trying to help us understand or to check our thought process. We must be able to recognize the strength of our opponents, weigh ourselves against them, because that is the hallmark of true servant and selfless leadership. I want to give you an example over this. When I was in college, Dr. Ngozi, when I was a student like this, I contested as the SU president. Now, my roommate was very sharp. His name was Washington Chimuzi. He's in the States at the moment. So I asked him, are you contesting? He said, why are you asking? I said, if you are contesting, then I'm not contesting. I would rather help you lead, because I know your ideas are better than mine. Are we together? I said, if you are contesting, then I'm not contesting because I know you are better off than myself. I would rather pray an advisory role to you. Because of my response, he said, I'm humbled with your attitude and your response. I am not contesting. I'll support you instead. What is my point? My point is, we should be able to understand who our opponent is or who our friend is, and be able to weigh ourselves against them so that we are able to move forward and shape the future of our country. By doing so, you put your self-interest aside, but those of the nation ahead of you and everyone else. In politics, in as much as scheming cannot be avoided, this must not be the core business. Scheming after scheming, scheming after scheming against your opponents. No. Let us scheme against economic challenges that we have. Now, someone will ask, how did we get here and how can we get out of the situation? History gives us lessons that help us to avoid past errors and build a stronger society. In order for us to understand where we are going, we must know where we're coming from. The current situation in our life, political governance, economic development, is a result of a series of developments or events that happened in the past. In summary, we never got where we are by accident. Our past holds the answers to our current situation. There are a number of questions we can ask ourselves, but I'll just go to a few. Number one, by looking at the past, we should ask ourselves this question: how did colonialism shape and derail our nation? How did the single-party system shape and derail our nation? Up to now, some believe that we are yet to recover from the 1964 cabinet crisis. How did that derail our nation or shape the thinking of our nation? Between 1994 and 2004, the time of Bakiri Muluzi, what did we learn and how did that period shape our nation? Between 2004 and 2012, during Bingo's time, what gains did we make? What losses did we make? During the time of Dr. Joyce Panda, where did we get it right? And where did we go wrong? And lastly, between 2014 and 2020, what are the hard lessons we can learn from that period? A clinical dissection of responses to these questions and a thorough analysis and awareness of the results will help us to move forward as a nation. In some cases, I'll be calling for action as what needs to be done, but mostly I'll pose questions just to provoke your thoughts as we go through this idea of people of politics. Between 1994 and 2020, I'm being specific, from 1994 to 2020, it was the period whereby politics took center stage, politics of victimization, politics of segregation, politics of fighting each other for the sake of fighting each other without analyzing what your friend is saying or putting across. National unification was lost and adoption of foreign ways of doing things was adopted. It is during this period that politics became the order of the day and mattered most above everything else. It is when we started ndale zotana. Before 1994, yes, it was there, but it matured and grew between 1994 and 2020. Ndale zotana. It is not easy to move away from that, because you can change leaders, you can change parties, but to change the culture in politics in Malawi or everywhere, it is not easy. It requires us all to take a collective and bold stand of putting people first above anything else. The first and foremost thing I want you to understand, we have entrusted political leadership with the people that jump the ship when the ship is taking on water. Are we together? We have entrusted political leadership with the people that jump the ship when the ship is taking on water, instead of taking the bucket to save the ship. Last year, this year when I met Dr. Nkos in Johannesburg and we were discussing, I asked him, what is your next political step? Are you joining ANC or MK for Jacob Zuma? He responded, there is no integrity in jumping from one party to the other without a thorough analysis of and reflection of yourself and how best you want to serve your people. There is no integrity in jumping from one political party to the other, just like that. One must take time to reflect and look at the interests of the people that we want to serve. That's what you said in Joburg last year when we met. We have entrusted political leadership with leaders that don't care about the nation, but rather they care about themselves. That's why at any point in time they will jump the ship when the ship is taking on water, instead of taking a bucket to save the ship. And most of the times, some of the leaders, it's hard for them to take hard decisions. It's hard for them to take hard decisions because they will affect their well-being and their interests. I'll give you my personal example, and I want you to hear me correctly. There is one company that runs fast food business in Malawi. So we asked them, why are you importing chickens from Zambia and tomato from South Africa? When we have got chickens in Malawi, we've got tomatoes in Malawi, and the onions in Malawi. He said our system does not allow that. So we said, no, we can't go on like that. We are giving you 3 months to start getting chickens from Malawi, tomatoes from Malawi, onions from Malawi. Then he said, then we'll walk away. We'll leave the country. I said, thank you, goodbye. Then I moved out of the boardroom. I know that once that is implemented, some people will be angry because they used to go in that fast food chain to get their food. But we're saying, why can't you develop the ecosystem in Malawi by empowering local farmers to grow tomatoes, onions, and chickens that meet your standards? You understand? But I took a bold decision and said, I'm giving you 3 months maximum. If you don't, as you are saying you want to go away, I'd walk away. He thought I'll bow down and say, no, don't go away. Just remain, we need you here. No. My brother, if you're saying you're going to walk away, then goodbye. It's a hard decision, but it had to be taken irrespective of whatever political ramifications, whatsoever people can look at it. Sometimes we need to take hard decisions for us to move forward. But most of the times we entrust positions of leadership in the hands of people who cannot take hard decisions. We have glorified political leaders who zig when they are supposed to zag. I'll say it again. We have glorified political leaders who zig when they are supposed to zag. Simply because by doing the right thing their self-interest will be affected. And that's why it is a challenge to put people first. Everyone is putting his interest as the prime interest. We have entrusted political leadership in the hands of leaders who have redefined political tolerance. They want to accept in their own thought the very same people who are behind the challenges this country is facing in the name of political tolerance. You know that uyu ndi mbava ndi imene yasokoneza dziko lino, but because of unity and political tolerance, how can you move forward together when you know that this one is the main problem behind our economical challenges in our country? We do not care about political values, but just survival. Many politicians, because of tolerance, are afraid to be alone. They associate either for financial gains or validation of their political ambitions. They will rather be with someone not because of their values, but simply because they want to validate their political ambitions or standing. I want to challenge you, students and everyone listening and watching. I want to say this and get me correctly. Do not be afraid to be alone. I'll say it again. Do not be afraid to be alone as long as you are standing on right values. You know why? You know why? Do you know why? Eagles fly alone. Doves fly together. Do not be afraid to fly alone, because eagles fly alone, but doves fly together. Let those who are like-minded push forward without being pushed aside by anyone. Tumvana Goma? Are we together? Kamuzubanda built this country on 4 cornerstones. But of these cornerstones, 2 to me are very unique: unity and discipline. As a country, we have not worked towards the path of unity. And us as political leaders, myself included, we have been at the helm of regionalism and tribalism for the sake of our political gains and interests. We have preached disunity for the sake of amassing votes without understanding the consequences on the country, because we are sowing seeds of division. We have not collectively worked towards national unity simply because of our political interests. I've spoken of unity and discipline as the major, as far as I'm concerned, cornerstones. Discipline has got many sons and daughters, 2 of whom are honest and integrity. You cannot So I was saying that discipline has got many sons and daughters, but one son is integrity and the daughter is honesty. Now, you cannot, and I repeat, you cannot run a country with undisciplined people. You cannot run a country with people that are not disciplined. Fortunately for Malawi, we seem to be disciplined. The four cornerstones, we have not demolished them in totality. On discipline alone, we tend to be disciplined. I was tackling the political aspect of the people for politics. Now, I will tackle a bit on the aspect of economy. Kamuzu Banda had a clear vision for Malawi. He had the AM strategy, agriculture and mining and manufacturing. Agriculture and manufacturing. We had the B&C, we had the Pew, we had several other companies, because he wanted Malawi to become a manufacturing country as well as an agricultural country. Doctor, our economy is agri-based, so we focus much on agriculture. But Kamuzu Banda based our economy on agriculture and mining. Now Dr. Chakwera has come in with the two in between, the T and the M, the ATMM strategy: agriculture, tourism, mining and manufacturing. You see, we had PTC and ShopRite started around the same time, around 1972 thereabout. Where is PTC now? Where is PTC now? And where is ShopRite now? Where did we go wrong? How did we get here? We had Air Malawi. The one you flew in is Malawi Airlines. It's Ethiopia and Malawi joint venture. But we had Air Malawi. Ministers were based in Blantyre, operating in Lilongwe, every now and again flying in and out without paying a penny. We collapsed Air Malawi. Governance. In primary school, Mfundis will agree with me, in those days we had handiwork. We had handwork in primary schools. But after change of government in 1994, we threw all that away. The baby and the water, we threw away together. But those to me were small SMEs, micro SMEs. We are being trained to manufacture using natural resources. But as colonists earlier on alluded to, we tend to throw away whatever our friend was doing and bring in our own things instead of continuity. We don't look at the future with a sober and a political eye. In terms of agriculture, we had MIP bases, which was training the youth in agriculture and leadership. But when we became a democratic state, we abandoned everything instead of just disarming MIP. We disbanded MIP instead of disarming it. Great leaders like Kaleke Banda, Gwanda Jakuamba are products of MIP. Some of them are still alive at the moment. The Henry Musas, they are products of MIP. But we threw away the baby with the water. Why? It's simply because there is no continuity. We put our political interests and ideologies ahead of everyone instead of having a clear national agenda. I want to borrow Bob Marley's quote in his song Rat Race, where he sang that in the abundance of water, a fool is thirsty. In the abundance of water, a fool is thirsty. 61 years of independence, a country cannot feed itself. We have to call for aid elsewhere to feed ourselves. Yet we've got Lake Malawi, several rivers, in abundance of arable land, in abundance of fresh waters. Malawi is hungry. As Bob Marley sang, in the abundance of water, the fool is thirsty. And I'm like, why do we call our Ministry of Agriculture, we say Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security? It's like we are at war with hunger always. We need security. It's like we are at war with hunger So every now and again, day in, day out, we are fighting hunger. We are fighting hunger every now and again. Why don't we call it, as they do it in France or other countries, Ministry of Agriculture and Food Sovereignty? Ministry of Agriculture and Food what? Sovereignty. Food security and sovereignty are totally different aspects. Whatever shortfall is there in food security is addressed in food sovereignty, because you are owning the food systems. You are owning your own food systems and making sure that it's available all the times and affordable. Controlling our own food systems. At the moment, we rely on WFP and others to come in so that we can fight hunger. And we call ourselves Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. Before 1994, we had the National Development Plan, which we are following as a country. Recently now, we have the NPC, National Planning Commission. But before the NPC, every leader when he comes, amabwela ndi njira yake. No continuity. Za MCP, tiambeza za UDF. Za UDF, tipanga za TPP. Za PP, tipanga njira ya TPP. Za TPP, tipanga njira ya MCP. We have always thrown away everything instead of sticking to the National Development Plan, but rather we are having our own political party's development plan. Because each and every leader has been throwing away because each leader has been throwing away whatever the previous leader did, we have not moved forward, we have derailed, and we are stagnant. If we are to address the national needs, let's move forward with NPC and stick to it without having a political eye, without looking at things with our own political branded eye. In other countries like Namibia, for instance, I don't know South Africa, but Namibia, you cannot spend taxpayers' money on a project that is not within the National Planning Commission's strategic plan. You cannot spend taxpayers' money on a project that is not within the NPC strategic plan. But most of the times, leaders will come and go with their own political projects in their regions, in their districts, in their own constituencies. We need to have legislation that can build Malawi forward by helping our country stick to the Planning Commission's agenda rather than individual political parties' agenda. Political parties must compete on how quickly they can implement the Vision 2063 and not new projects altogether. Because at the moment, we compete on nothing. But we must compete, we must say, NPC has laid out these projects, this is the agenda for our country. How do we move forward? If you vote us into power, according to the Planning Commission, this project will be done in so many years. We'll come up with ways and systems to make sure that the implementation of this agenda is fast-tracked. That should be our competition of ideas, how to fast-track national development, and not introducing politically charged projects to suit our own interests. As a minister, I'm ashamed to go into a Ministry of Trade with an expired strategic plan. With an expired strategic plan. I was at Ministry of Labor last year. Again, up to now, there is no strategic plan. Why? We are waiting for donors to finance our strategic plan formulation. We are waiting for a donor to come and finance us to develop our own strategic plan. Then how do you move as a country if respective ministries do not have strategic plans? Where are we going? What are we doing? Then every minister who comes will come with his own agenda because there's nothing to implement. It starts from ministries, then it goes at the government level. That's why we are unable as government sometimes to respect the National Planning Commission and the national agenda. We have introduced politics and economy of coffins, helping people rot in graveyards and not helping them while they're still healthy. Last weekend at the rally at my village, and like last year, I asked the people, between helping you while you're still healthy to get medical care and buying you a coffin, what do you want? They said we'd rather be helped while we're healthy to prolong our life than a coffin. But as politicians, we are the ones spearheading the politics and economy of coffins, helping people rot in the grave instead of helping them while they are healthy to prolong their lives. We introduced free primary education without matching with the needs of investment required. We prioritized road transport as opposed to rail transport and vandalized our rail transport because I own transport business like tankers. So if the railway is working, my business will die. Let me vandalize the railway. My tankers can have business. And we did that from 1994 until recently, when now we're rebuilding our railway network. Simply because some people with personal interest in transportation business wanted their businesses to grow and not look at the future of the country in terms of transportation. We have got political leaders who have taken politics as a racket to steal money from the poor, as a business opportunity. Mandela, in his long walk to freedom, he wrote, and I quote, "You must not take politics as a racket to steal money from the poor." But we have looked at politics as a business enterprise. My brother from Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore, again says, if you don't want politics, do business. If you want business, do business and don't do politics, because many people tend to take politics as a business opportunity. So Ibrahim Traore says, leading a country is a privilege and not a business opportunity. We have entrusted political leadership in people who have taken politics as a business opportunity. Because of that, we have created blind loyalty and people who fail to speak the truth, and bootlickers who rely on financial support from those that they praise. I want to give a chance to my brother now. Before I get there, let me conclude by saying this. We have got this saying in politics, my Aziz and the others here, you know this statement. Because I'm close to you, I want to say this to you, to all you students and everyone watching and listening. When you hear someone saying don't entertain them. They are political exploiters, because one must weigh his moves before taking a step. So no one must come to you saying because of you. No. It simply means and shows that they are political exploiters who want to take advantage of others. They have nothing to stand for. We must have something to stand for. We need to move forward as a country by pressing people above politics. We need great minds. We need everyone to move. We need everyone to join hands together so that we are able to move forward as a country. Lastly, I want to explain why I say people of politics a bold, righteous, and an inextinguishable idea. The answers to our political, economic, and governance problems. I repeat, the answers to our political, economical, governance problems is within those who courageously go beyond mediocrity as long as God grants the grace. I'll say it again. We need to be bold and courageous, because the answers to our problems, be it political, economy, and governance, lies within those who courageously go beyond mediocrity as long as God grants the grace. Why do I call it a righteous idea? I'm a Christian, just like you, my brother, Patience. The Bible says you must always side with the vulnerable. Are we together? You must always side with those who are vulnerable. So, by pressing people above politics, we are siding with the people. We are on the side of people. That's what makes this as a righteous idea, because you are valuing people, especially those who are vulnerable and less privileged. And why, lastly, am I saying it is an idea that cannot be extinguished? Every principle that is based on spiritual foundation cannot be extinguished, no matter what. As such, I want to say it here boldly. People of politics cannot, I repeat, cannot be extinguished. Forces of evil can gather round to discredit people of politics and its champions, but they will never win, because light will always conquer darkness. Evil forces of darkness will gather around to discredit people of politics and its champions. But I repeat, they will never achieve as long as we are championing the agenda for the people. We are championing a righteous idea that is bold enough, cannot be extinguished, and God will always grant us the grace, and light will always conquer darkness. I will share with you the whole presentation. There are about 70 slides. I had to jump because of time, but I will share with the head of department and the dean, and all of you will access it. And again, it will be on my website for everyone to be able to read properly, because I've left out about 33 slides because of time. With that, thank you so much for being attentive.